What is up, Shredder Broskies? We have finally made a video that's not 50 seconds or 40 seconds long, and we are stringing in a bunch of trails. Very sick. I went to San Clemente, and what's even sicker than that is I got to test the YT Decoy SN. Yes, the Supernatural. It is their lighter weight e-bike at 45 pounds, roughly. And boy, was it fun. It was quite a ride, and you'll actually be seeing it very soon. I just wanted to get on here to let you know that at the end of this video, I will be talking about my afterthoughts of the ride. I've kind of been sitting on this because I haven't, my computer doesn't handle editing. That's why I post like 50-second videos or whatever. It's just the clips that I have because I just don't have an editor right now on my computer that I can use to edit things really quickly because it's slow. But my phone can actually edit it better than my computer. So I don't know how that works, but it does it on the iMovie app, which is great, very simple. So anyway, let's get into the video. All right, guys, this is a e-bike, the YT Decoy SN-MX. So it's their lighter weight e-bike, 44 pound, Zeb Select, TRP brakes, Continentals, H19 hybrid, DT Swiss, 29, 27.5 in the rear. Also got the Vivid Select, which I'm pretty excited about to test out. But just the e-bike itself is freaking sick. I rode it all the way up here. I never come up here. I'm in San Clemente. Beautiful view all around us. We're gonna hit car crash trail, but I just came up here because I could. I freaking just was like, hey, I might as well just go on it. It's got a really easy remote. You flip it up or you hold it up to turn it on. Flashes. Green means eco mode, blue is trail, purple is like blasting, and then if I hold it up, it goes into this mode, which is like super blast for like 19 seconds, but I don't want to do that. Oh, super blast. Oh, interesting. And then that's off. So I'm just going to go back to green. Eco for downhill, I think, is good. But yeah, we're going to get shreddy here. So I came up here because I was like, oh, there's some jumps up there. I kind of want to test it on before we go crazy. Oh yeah. Eco, I think, is like, feels more like riding a bike with a tiny bit of assist, whereas trail, that really feels like you're on an e-bike. Man, this thing can jump fairly well. All right, a little drop here. Whew. Oh yeah. Whoa. Man, it's got some good like poppy playfulness to it, and then as well as just a big burly machine. Oh, wow. Yeah. 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 Okay.
Okay, that was crazy for a little warm-up. I'm in eco mode right now, and I know I'm in my 5th gear, and it is like so easy. It's so easy to push this thing up a hill at 44 pounds. We're gonna hit Ricky Bobby, because why the hell not? You know, we got all this juice, all this battery juice. We gotta spend it. Whoa, yeah. Okay. Still getting used to the suspension. Ricky Bobby, which is a blue trail here at San Clementine. Oh man, dude. This bike just makes you like want to go. Just makes you want to just hit everything with speed and just pounce on it. Uh-oh. Let's see how it handles the G out here. This thing can be pretty gnarly. Little jibsters. They pair these things up with like solid tires. These things are gripping. We're gonna go up the trail next to Full Metal Jacket. I don't know what it's called, but that's what we're gonna do. All right, well, I just noticed the sun, as in its heat affecting my body, making it sweaty. And the reason I've just noticed it now, after biking for, I don't know, a half hour or so, is because this thing goes so fast, you only feel the breeze in your face. Oh, this looks built. Okay, I can probably go for the other one. Jeez. There we go. This thing just soaks up everything. I'm giving it the freaking beans, you know? I think it's a 170, 160. 170 up front, 160. This fork feels phenomenal. This fork feels really good. It didn't even feel that fast, but I was overshooting every jump like crazy. I think that just goes to show what this bike is capable of. This thing rails berms. It sticks. It feels really freaking good. And I guess I was surprised about that because, you know, you think e-bike, heavy, bulky chub, but you definitely feel you can feel like, oh yeah, it's a 45-pound bike or 44 or whatever. You can feel it, but it just kind of surprises you because you're like, oh, I didn't think a 45-pound bike would do that. It's so weird because it's like, it doesn't feel like you're gonna make those things, but then it just does. I don't know if it's the shocks or what, dude. I'm not comfortable. Whoa. That is where things get a little interesting. And you cannot blink in there. Whoa. Yeah. It's like so far, that's the only type of riding where I got like a tad bit nervous on this bike. Because it's just a big machine to put in that little hole. Okay, pause. Whoa. To put in that little trail. Do I want to go up there? No, I can climb everything. That was by far the longest I've hit that one jump at the bottom there before the narrows. That I absolutely sent deep on. Like, I'm not only testing its e-bikeness ability, but also just like how hard. I'm sending this thing so hard, and it's heavy, you know, in comparison to other bikes. It's a chub, but man, it eats it up. And it's so hard to like tell how fast you're actually going, just because of how stable it is. So yeah, it's pretty solid so far. Whew. I gotta stop talking. So in only about 45 minutes, we have gone down just one. And I've been using trail, which is like the middle, for all my climbs. I'm impressed. thoroughly impressed. So, whoa. This thing just keeps going. All right, I think that's fine. All right, just like that, we are back up here, and I want to hit this jump line, and I want to see if we can whip this thing, because what I have noticed, I mean, it's so big, it's so burly, you know, it's a big chunky machine. It's hard to whip, it's hard to move in the air. You know, compared to my bike, which is like very easy, so freaking easy, suspiciously easy to whip. And it kind of moves around on you a lot, you know. So we're gonna see if we can whip this thing, and to what extent, you know, because there's small whips, and there's like medium, and there's like big whips. We haven't even got to big whips on my bike yet, but we've gotten to the small and the medium. So let's see what this bad boy can do. All right, that was a small whip, microscopic, but it still was one nonetheless. Oh yeah, there we go. That was more like a table, I guess. It wasn't really a whip. You know, we're working on it. We're working on it. Like I said, oh my God. Oh. Whoa. That one is bounce. Whoa. Forgot about that jump. All right, we want to go back, because I got to bring this thing back in order to get the other bike. You know, we're getting there. We still need to learn how to whip. It's a learning process for sure. But we did do some, you know, probably got to get used to the bike, although it's just a demo. I know, so sad. I wish I could keep it. But just a demo for today. Just for today. Okay.
Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, let's talk about the bike. Just the afterthoughts, what I'm thinking now that I've had a ton of time to think about it. So it was a Core 2, very fun. It is 160 in the rear, 170 up front. And one thing that I did notice, just obviously you could tell, I was very keen and aware about how stable the bike was. That may have to do with the fact that I got a large. I am 5'9", without shoes. I guess with riding shoes, I'm about 5'10". But my arm span is just under 6'2". So, I didn't realize this, but the reach for the large is 475 millimeters. And that's a good amount of reach. I normally ride a bike that has around 450 millimeter reach, and it always feels like I'm on top of the bike and never sitting in it. This bike, I felt like I was in it. I was ready to go. And I think that just contributes to knowing your size, understanding like, oh, okay, maybe I need to get a large or something like that. That's a whole other topic, but that's something you need to consider with the way I was thinking about the bike, of how planted it felt. If I jumped on a medium, would it feel as planted? Would it be a little bit more playful? Probably. But we'll just kind of figure that out next time. I think if I were to buy a bike, I would go large. I really enjoyed how that felt. And I think over time, it'll become more playful and feel smaller the more you ride it, as has all my other bikes in the past. So it also has a 1280 millimeter wheelbase, which is fairly large. The chainstays are 442 millimeters, so that adds to the playability, I think, in turns. Like I felt in the narrows, I felt like, oh man, I feel kind of squished in here because the bike is pretty large. However, I handled the narrows just fine, and I think what I was surprised about was after the fact, I went back and watched videos of myself on my propane Tyee because I was curious to see, okay, which bike am I faster on? On the narrows, so after I booted that huge jump, which I actually measured was one bike length longer than what I hit it on my analog going 100%. I absolutely booted that one. That was crazy. A lot of fun. When I entered the narrows, I timed it, and I was only about a half second to 1 second off of my analog time, which is definitely telling of the capability of that bike, which is so much bigger than my analog, weighs a lot more, is a little bit slacker, longer, the reach is a lot bigger, especially in that tight section. I mean, longer wheelbase, all these things, right? To only be about a half second off is pretty incredible. So that's another thing to think about. And even on a brand new bike that I wasn't used to on Car Crash, the first trail that I rode, the downhill section, like starting from the drop, like from the little drop where it's like a steep section goes into a corner, you hit this really fast straightaway. From that point on to the end of the trail, I was only 3 seconds off from my analog bike. So I was so surprised about that. Just the speed it carries, how poppy it is. I mean, that's something that I think the suspension does a really good job about feeling very planted, stable. The tires also help with traction. Those Continentals are so good. I am definitely going to be looking out for a sale on those to put on my own bike. But then any time that I wanted to hit a jump or anything, I mean, that thing I could boot it. I could just boost it off the ground. I felt no problem. I didn't feel the weight when I was jumping. It actually soared really, really stable through the air. I felt very in control of all of the jumps. I never felt like the bike got away from me when I was jumping, which is really cool. So I mean, there's so many positives. I think that I was just very shocked. I had not ridden an e-bike before. I was expecting it to feel kind of sluggish jumping, like, I'm lugging, this extra weight. It wasn't bad at all. So let's talk about how far I went. I did go 8.5 miles roughly. I should have stopped my Strava. I didn't. I jumped on the other Decoy the full power one after the SN. So I was only on the SN for about an hour, maybe not even. I think it was about 45 minutes and 45 minutes because my total time was an hour and a half. And I'm thinking I did around 1,800 to 2,000 feet of climbing in about 8.5 miles. And I was only about 1.5 to 2 bars used up out of the 5 bars that the Fazua battery holds. So that's excellent. You know, that's really excellent because I was in trail mode for many of the climbs. I was in eco mode for many of the climbs. And climbing eco mode in that bike felt faster than eco mode on the full power. Because I remember thinking on the full power, wow, the eco mode feels slower. Well, I'm going to have to do like a full 2-hour ride on each bike and then do this over again. But this is just what I'm saying now. So yeah, battery life was great. Obviously 400 watt hours of battery, which is fantastic. And then, you know, Fazua 60 Newton meter powered, I think a total power output of 600 watts. No, that can't be 400 maybe. I don't know the tech. I don't know. You can go look it up. The only issue, so if you heard the noise in the video when I was pedaling, that was not the motor. That was the derailleur. It was extremely bent. I didn't think I did that. I don't think I did that. I think it was like that from when I got it. Obviously, these are demo bikes, so they are just pretty much thrashed. They're not thrashed. It was really good condition, but anybody's riding it. You know, I get on it, you know, so yeah, it was the derailleur that was making that noise. The battery, the motor, I didn't hear anything coming from those two things on the downhill. The only noise that I heard were just pretty much like the chain slap and the brakes, and then the suspension had kind of like the squish, like the squishing sound, like the wheezing sound, which I'm used to with my Öhlins, and then sometimes the Fox DHX does that. So those were the only sounds. Another downside is that when you're looking at other reviews of the long-term or the longevity of the Fazua motor, many people have connectivity problems. It seems like something goes awry or something becomes disconnected over time in the motor to the battery where, you know, people will be like, oh, it's on, the light's green, and there's no power coming out of it. There's no force helping me pedal up the hill. And so Fazua kind of has to get their reliability under check. I've seen it in a few videos where people were like, oh yeah, it disconnected, and then I basically, you know, took the bike apart and tried to figure it out, and then it was somewhat working, but still wasn't really working completely 100% of the time. So that's one thing that kind of makes me go, I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to have the hassle of doing that, you know, because, you know, this is a bike where you can't really take out that battery and ride it. You know, if you're taking out the battery, you're also taking out the motor, and then you're taking out the drive unit. So it kind of gets a little bit hairy there. It would be a really cool bike if you could take out the battery and just ride it like a normal analog bike. Because that would basically make it like, I guess, a 41-pound bike or something. I don't know how much the battery weighs itself. Probably like 4 or 5 pounds. I don't know. But in any case, it's definitely a bike that I would totally take to a bike park. It was so stable. It was just a lot of fun. You know, would I buy this bike? I think yes. You know, I want to say yes. I kind of want to see if Fazua, what they do with like their motors, you know, because I have an analog bike. And there's also the question of, if you have this bike, is there even a point of having, you know, an analog enduro bike? I don't know. I was thinking, like, if I buy that bike, I could just sell my enduro to use as money toward it. And, you know, obviously this market sucks right now for selling. But but it would almost make my other bike obsolete, you know? Because I could still ride this thing. I could just tone down the eco mode so that it wouldn't be super fast. It would just more be helping pedaling up the hill if I was going to go ride with people on analog bikes. Yeah, I mean that. It's also, I would want to test it on different things. You know, it would be really fun taking that bike to Aliso Viejo, Laguna Beach, testing those trails, seeing, you know, how does this do on like a fairly steep kind of, you need brake checks, you need to be slow and like, you know, on point with your turns. That would be interesting to see. I probably would buy it. I think I would be worried about the motor going out, you know, but I'd probably just ride it until it does, and then I'd kind of cross that bridge when we come to it type of thing. Those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comments, and then also click that subscribe button. Click it. Click it, I dare you.